know what they're hurting.
You saw that they're
getting pulled into the issues. They're getting pulled in by
they're not talking to me. They're blaming me.
I know, because they don't understand everything, and because
and me talking to them. All that me talking to them there is me trash talking their mothers. I can't explain myself.
Do that.
I know.
Not.
So I can't go speaking to them. I mean, some of the kids are really warming up to me.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. There's been some bonus clips that have come out for this new season of Sister Wives, and there was an additional part of the Robyn and Kody conversation that occurred that I thought was interesting, because Kody literally admitted that the reason why his kids don't talk to him is because he basically trash talks their mother to them. The man that said his family was destroyed by gossip and accused Christine and Janelle of trash talking him to their kids, then admits to trash talking his wives, ex-wives, to his kids. They always say that every accusation is a confession of a narcissist. And while Robyn was trying to pin the blame on the women for bringing the kids into the fight, Kody actually admitted that he's the one that's triangulating and creating the chaos. So there's a level of awareness here by him that is disturbing. But I want you to watch this clip and we can talk a little bit about it.
I've never had the experience. I don't know how to manage it. The advice out there is very confusing. I've spoken specifically with my family counselor who has said, you have to constantly engage and you have to have a set of rules where, number one, we're not going to triangulate. You don't get to represent somebody else to me.
Kody says that his family counselor has told him that if he is going to have engagement with his children, that he needs to have ground rules for the communication. And one of those ground rules is that you're not going to triangulate. And he believes that triangulating means you don't get to represent anyone else to me. And that's actually not what triangulating is. And he projects the triangulation onto other people and implies that he's being triangulated when he's actually the one that is triangulating. Triangulation is a tactic that's used by people with narcissistic personality disorder, according to Psych Central. And this tactic is used by narcissists in order to protect their fragile egos, to give them a sense of superiority, to avoid conflict, to create conflict in a situation. And in this case, I just want to give you some sort of examples of what a narcissistic parent or spouse might do. So in a child-parent relationship, between the child and the parent, or between siblings, it could involve this: a parent buying things for the child to try and win them over to be seen as the good parent, trying to turn the child against their other parent by telling them lies or negative ideas about the other parent, trying to get information from the child about the other parent that can be used against them, encouraging siblings to compete against one another, thereby creating persecutor and victim roles, which result in the parents becoming the rescuer, being hostile or critical towards one child and using their sibling as an example of how they should behave. So Kody likes to scapegoat, and he definitely scapegoats Robyn's kids as the good kids and all the other kids as bad kids. And I actually read this article that basically explains what scapegoating is. It's like narcissists apparently can't see humans for who they are. Instead, every person is a vision of themselves. And so with scapegoating, they divide people into those that are the bad parts of them that they don't like, and those that they value and the traits that they do like about themselves. And so the scapegoats are the parts of the narcissist that they hate. So they attribute all of their bad qualities onto the scapegoat, and they attribute all of their good qualities onto the golden child or the favored spouse. And then in between those two relationships, they cause conflict by talking about the other or pitting them against each other to compete or by telling lies about them. And Kody does this with Robyn when it comes to his relationships, and he definitely has isolated her as a means to not allow her to communicate with other people. And one way that they will, according to mentalhealth.com, one way that a narcissist might do this is they will tell lies about their partners to invoke jealousy or certain behaviors from their current partner, or they will bring in a new partner to elicit jealousy in the other partner, and then basically won't allow those two partners to speak to each other, and all the communication goes through them, which then creates conflict between the two of them or competition between the two of them. And a lot of times in his arguments, another thing that he does is when he starts arguing with Christine or someone, he will say, "Is anyone going to back me up and tell me how you feel about this?" So basically making people feel like they have to pick a side. And apparently they narcissists triangulate because apparently they lack empathy or interest in others. They often are seeking approval. They need attention. They have a lack of exaggerated or deflated self-esteem. They believe they're superior to others, and they don't want to actually take accountability or responsibility, so they can deflect. And it says people with MPD do not cope well with criticism or blame. So they might use triangulation to protect their ego and manipulate others into accepting accountability. Interesting, right? So Kody knows the words, but he doesn't know what it means. Triangulation is not representing someone to someone else. It's not bringing someone else into the argument. It's not manipulating people to feel like they have to compete or that they have to pick a side or that they need to, have an opinion one way or the other. Kody always wants people to see things his way and no other way. And all of them have said they were forced to pick between their kids or Kody or someone else in Kody, or, it's Robyn or Kody, and Robyn triangulates too. They both do. But that's what triangulation is. And I'm constantly floored that Kody knows nothing about it.
We're not going to talk about your mother. We can talk about the fact I didn't love her. Okay. Was that a character issue in me? Whatever it is, whatever accusations you have, I'm sorry. You have no life experience and you're criticizing mine, where I worked hard to do the best that I could with the situation that I was in. Stop criticizing me. Quit bringing contempt to our relationship.
His doublespeak and gaslighting is astounding to me, honestly. He says, "We're not going to talk about your mother, but we can talk about the fact that I don't love your mother." What? What? I'm thinking here rationally about these kids have problems with Kody that really do not just include their moms. And Kody doesn't view the kids as anything other than extensions of the spouse. And that's why he constantly, when he's mad at one of them, he disregards their children. He was mad at Christine, so he basically just ignored her daughters. He doesn't like Janelle, and so now all of her kids are evil, right? And so it's like Kody wants to decide how people communicate. He wants to decide what they can say to him. He wants to dictate the rules of the conversation, but then also says, "We're not going to talk about your mother, but you can tell me that I can tell you that I didn't love your mother," which is talking about the mother. And then it opens up conversation and questions about, "Why didn't you love my mother?" And then allows him to triangulate. Even if the kids were mad at him about not loving their moms, at the root, their conflict with Kody doesn't have to do with their moms. It has to do with how Kody treated them. But because Kody doesn't view them as anything other than extensions of his ex-wives, he doesn't see their humanity. He doesn't acknowledge that they're humans that actually have conflict with him that has nothing to do with their mom. It has to do with how he treated them. But Kody doesn't have relationships with his kids on his own. He always puts that responsibility on the women and says that it's their responsibility to manage those relationships for him. And that if they remove themselves from his life, then he doesn't have a relationship with the kids, which means that if things go right with Robyn, those kids will have no relationship with Kody as well. I mean, Robyn is absolutely delusional if she thinks that what she's seeing right now with Kody isn't going to happen to her and her kids, because Kody will do exactly to her what he's done to every other woman. And every other woman didn't realize it was going to happen to them until it happened to them. And then when they started realizing and seeing, oh, wait, what he did to me, he did to Mary. Or what he did to Janelle, he did to Christine. And Mary has been making these connections a lot, saying, you did the exact same thing to me, where he basically is ignoring Janelle's calls, right? Everything that he's doing, he will do to Robyn because Mary was the favorite for the longest time. I mean, did anyone else get to go to Mexico twice during the filming of this show other than Mary? A lot of people talk about the 11-day honeymoon, but Mary got 2 trips to Mexico from Kody in the span of several years. Janelle and Kody never went to Mexico, never took a trip anywhere. They went camping in Utah. They didn't go on anything that was expensive. It was always like a hike, staying in a tent, never to Mexico. When he traveled with Christine, it was to Vegas because he was actually interested in going to Vegas. It had nothing to do with Christine. And it was Robyn that got a trip to San Diego and Mary that got a trip to Mexico with him alone twice. She went to Mexico the first season and then again in the 5th season or the 4th season. I can't remember which one. No one else went to Mexico but Mary. The family went to Hawaii together, but I don't classify a group vacation as one-on-one time with a wife at all. So Kody's like, I can tell you that I don't love your mother, but you don't get to tell me that it was wrong. You don't get to come to me with contempt or criticism. You need to leave that at the door. You don't get to have those feelings. Kody cannot handle criticism because criticism doesn't allow him to feel superior to other people. And he, as a narcissist, believes that he's better than everyone. And if he has to take criticism, he would have to acknowledge that he's a flawed human being that actually has low self esteem and doesn't do everything perfectly. He would have to acknowledge that he's not God's gift to women or God's gift to parenting or the good guy that he believes that he is. And so criticism is like an attack on his facade, which is why he refuses to take accountability because he thinks he's better than everyone. And it's a technique and it's a way for him to protect his ego. Everything is a game to him. Every person is an obstacle that gives him something. It's like they either give him good attention or bad attention. And all attention is good for a narcissist. So for these women that are not liking him but still giving him attention, he still likes that because they're still giving him attention. And if Robyn is fawning over him and giving him love, he's going to love that. But the ones that are not giving him good attention, honestly, should like suffocate him and like get rid of the narcissist and get rid of the supply and don't give him the supply and not allow him to have power over you. And when I've listened to the kids talk about this, Gabriel has spoken about how he lacks the ability to take accountability and he won't have a conversation with him unless he will take accountability. He acknowledges that Robyn goes into the common stance in triangulation of victim mode. Dad is either the persecutor or the rescuer, or the kids are the persecutors of Robyn, and Robyn's the victim, and Dad needs to rescue Robyn from everyone else. So he really does keep Robyn in a victim mode in order to rescue her constantly so that he can look like he's the knight in shining armor and constantly saving her from someone. But he's the one that's created all of this confusion and chaos. And honestly, and some of you might actually hate me for this, but if these people would remove Kody from the situation and say that Robyn was actually able to just get into a room with Christine, Janelle, and Mary and hear their side of the story without influence from Kody, she would probably realize that a lot of the stories that Kody is telling her are lies. And then she might start to second guess her relationship with Kody and realize that he has lied to her. But Kody has to protect that from happening So he has to shield her from them and isolate her from them so that she doesn't realize that he's lying. But the only way that she can actually realize that he's lying is by getting the other side of the story. And she's not allowed to do that because she doesn't have conversations with them. I mean, everything has to go through Kody to Robyn. You know, he always said that like nobody gets to talk to Robyn but me. I'm the person that decides who she talks to. So if she's honestly being kept from this, she's being triangulated and she's being victimized by Kody to make her believe everyone hates her. So he's like really leaning into and playing into her victim mentality. And I feel sad because honestly, these kids honestly recognize what's happening. And recently on Patreon, McKelty was talking about her dad. She was talking about Gabriel's conversation about his dad and why he can't have a conversation with him because of his lack of accountability. And McKelty made the comment that therapy doesn't work for her dad because he refuses to accept responsibility for anything and he doesn't like criticism. And every kind of a criticism that he gets, he views as an attack against him. And so he doesn't know what to do with criticism. And so then he just starts projecting and blaming and doing all of these toxic behaviors. And so therapy isn't effective for him, which proves that he's a narcissist. So imagine you're Kody's kids and you hear him say, "You don't get to triangulate me. And you also don't get to come to me with contempt and anger. And we don't get to talk about your mother. But I can tell you that I didn't love your mother, but you don't get to talk about anything else. And you can call it a character flaw, whatever. But I just did the best I could with what I had," which is a way for him to escape accountability by blaming it on extenuating circumstances. Like that was honestly that statement by him was like me getting flashbacks to my childhood of like calling out the narcissist in my life and saying, this is what you did. And they would just say, "Well, I'm just doing the best I can with what I have. You know, I grew up and I was abused and I had all this crap in my life. And, you know, I'm just doing the best with what I have." It's just such a cop out. And it makes the person that's being abused feel like they're supposed to feel sad for and feel bad for the narcissist. So then you come to the narcissist feeling like you are so mad at them. And then you end up apologizing to them for their crappy childhood. And you're like, "I am so sorry that that's what you went through." And then you forget what you went there for and that you were upset. And you're like consoling them. That's how I spent my entire life until I went no contact. And honestly, I would just tell them all to go no contact. It's so much easier. But I'm floored that one, he admits that he is the one that's talking crap about the mothers to the kids, then fully admits that he will tell the kids that "I didn't love your mother," after accusing Maddie of saying that she spread the rumor that "I didn't love your mothers," right? The editors are doing a lot this year to show Kody's chaotic brain. And I think they don't really have to do a lot to show just what a walking contradiction he is. And I honestly don't think that they're even trying to hide it anymore. Like, I think in the early days, the editors tried to cover up some of his bad behavior, but now it's just like it's gotten so bad that they're just putting it all out there. And they're putting out his contradicting statements in the same episode. Even McKelty said all he would have to do is watch the episode of him talking to Gabe and he would see that that conversation actually happened. And then she said that she is starting to wonder if anything is real on the show or if it's fake to him or if he just doesn't care and he just says whatever he thinks. And when it came to this scene, McKelty did say that a lot of times on the show, they don't put things in the right timeline because it has to do with how they create the story. And so they look at the totality of the film and put conversations in episodes, even if they weren't in the same timeline, because it makes the most sense for the story. So, what are your thoughts about all of this? Are you shocked by Kody's confession or the fact that he's indirectly admitting to triangulating and being the one that's talking shit about the women? And what do you think about Robyn? You can't do that. So, Robyn, are you going to start blaming Kody and not the wives? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Bye, everyone.